Hey gang, we're just about at the top of the hour. We'll be getting started here. We've got about 24 people that have registered for this, so we'll give them a minute to show up. We've got 6 on so far, and I'm excited about this. This is something that I enjoy talking about and helping small business owners and advisors get more ideal clients through the process of getting referrals, an easy way, a naturally way. So you're in for a treat. This will be a lot of fun. It's going to be interactive. So I encourage you to put your questions in the chat, or if you need, you can raise your hand and I can unmute you and we can interact that way as well. So let's see, maybe 1 more minute, 2 more minutes, I guess. I've got 3 clocks, none of them are lined up. I'll go off my phone, which is 2 minutes until we start. So grab yourself a glass of water, whatever you might need, turn off your pings and dings and get yourself present. And we are going to get rolling here in just a moment. All right. Do me a favor, anyone, just in the chat, if you can let me know that you can see the screen okay, that says getting more ideal referrals, and that you can hear me okay and see my video. Just put a yes in the chat so that I know. Okay. Thanks, Barry. I appreciate that. It's always good to go. I see a thumbs up from Jean, so thank you. All right. All right. Well, here's the deal. You guys showed up on time, so I want to honor that. We got a lot to get through, and so we're going to go ahead and get this party started. Here's what I want to make sure you guys experience, and that is, oops, there's the starting line. Let me make sure I've got that. We're good there. Okay, here we go. Here's some rules of the room for you. I want to invite you to be curious. Put on your Curious George or Georgette hat on, and notice what you can with regards to how to grow your business to get more and qualified referrals. I want you to give yourself the gift. And GIFT is an acronym meaning Genius Intentional Focused Time. So I know everybody that's showing up here. I know some of you personally. You know, you're working hard. You're doing all the stuff you need to do, and life is coming at you Mach 40. So I get all that. What I want you to be sure is that you can block the world away for right now and just give yourself the gift, the Genius Intentional Focused Time of this next hour, so that you can make yourself more available to the qualified referrals that are out there. So I'm here to tell you, there is an abundance of referrals out there. They're available. The question is, how do you make yourself available to them? And that's what we're going to talk about. So I want you to get clear on what it is that you need to take away from today's hour in order for you to grow your business. So with that being said, here's 2 questions. Why are you here investing your time and your energy? And what needs to change or improve in your business or in your practice? So just so that we all know we're in the right room, go ahead and type into the chat what it is you came here to get. What needs to change or improve in your business? What do you need to learn? What do you need to figure out? Let me know. Take a moment, put it in the chat. By the way, this is going to be interactive, so if that scares you, you might want to duck out. Shouldn't scare you, though. That's why you're here, to get referrals. Put yourself out there. Come on, guys, in the chat. Let me know what you came here to get. What intrigued you? You clicked on the registration. What did you come here to get? Okay, the best way to ask for referrals. Thanks, Jerry. Perfect. More quality referrals. Perfect, Gene. I don't get many referrals. I need to do something different. Okay, great, Dennis. A process to keep getting prospects. Yeah, process is the key. And we're going to talk about that for sure. All right. So, yeah, hopefully this is what everybody came here to get. This is what you're going to get. I'm going to show you some tools, some best practices, some better ways to look at and think about getting more and more referrals. So on our last gym, which was 2 weeks ago, we do these every other week. On the last one, we talked about identifying who is our ideal client, right? And the more clarity that we have there, the better we have the ability to be more attractive to them. So, there's a saying that says, when you're clear, what or who you want will show up, and only to the extent that you're clear. So you need to do some work with regards to getting clear on who your ideal client is and who your ideal referral is. Now, when it comes to prospects, there's all kinds of different ways to prospect. So these are the different, there we go, my clicker's a little delayed. So think of this at the very top is the people that are going to be the best sources of a client. Personal observation is where we start off with. The next best type of prospect is a referral or a recommendation from somebody that knows us, knows our services. The next level is people that attend a workshop or a seminar or an event that we do, right? All of you here are attending a webinar that I'm doing. And, for marketing purposes, you would be next in line with referrals and personal observations as people that are warmed up to the thought of working with somebody like me. Not going to hide it. That's the way that it works. So you've got to put yourself on the other side and recognize that's how it works. People need to know you, like you, and trust you enough to do business with you. So doing events like workshops, webinars, and so forth are great ways for people to get to know you, like you, and eventually trust you. Okay. Another area that is popular is things that are like public relations. Now, when I say public relations, that might mean articles that you might write for a magazine. It might be an event. You might be involved in a committee in the chamber, or maybe a Rotarian, and you're doing a lot of work on behalf of the community and spreading your goodness, right? And that's an opportunity for people to get to know you, like you, and trust you. They can borrow the trust, right? If they see you doing good work somewhere over here, chances are you're going to do good work in the profession that you've chosen. So public relations is a great way as well. Social media, right? We all know that one. That's probably why a lot of you are here, is you found this through social media. And then another form is advertising. And that includes, print, newsletters, magazines, newspapers, things of that nature. It also includes radio, TV, and even online advertising. Now, typically, as we go down this list, the quality of that referral or prospect is a little harder to convert, right? Because they don't know us as well as if we were referred to by a friend. But what I want you to recognize, like an online advertising, I'll say this. If you don't have a lot of money and a lot of commitment and have people that know what they're doing, I might guard your wallet with regards to paying for advertising online. Now, not to say that it doesn't work. There's plenty of companies and organizations that are funding it effectively and getting great results from it. But if you're, a solo practitioner or a small advisor or whatever, small business, it might be money down a rat hole. There's a lot easier, cheaper, and better ways to get in front of qualified people. And then, oftentimes we've bought leads from certain suppliers, and they might be good qualified leads. Most of the time, they're not. But even if they are, if you're not the first one that makes the call to get the appointment to help sell that person, you're in line with 3, 4, 7, 10 other people that have bought that same lead. Right now, you can pay a lot for a lead where they don't resell it, but most of the time it is resold. So guard your money. And the other piece of it is, if that source ever dries up or goes away, or certain rules in your industry change, you can be kind of caught in the middle. So again, this is all about giving you some tools to be able to generate your own types of best referrals. Okay. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to focus on the two hottest ways or two hottest types of prospects, which is personal observation and referrals and recommendations. All right. So as we talk about this, before I go any further, I want to just check in and see if you have any specific questions or if there's anything, things that you want to make sure we cover that I didn't tee up for yet. Okay. Everybody doing all right? Yes or yes? Okay. So let me just share a couple stats with you for a second. This is important to know. And referrals convert 30% better than any other type of lead source. All right. People are 4 times more likely to buy from when they're referred by a friend, right? If you get a recommendation, your best friend or a good business partner, somebody that you respect says, hey, you need a realtor. Here's mine. She or he did great. You're going to take that. It's going to go to the top of your list. So 4 times, right? Don't discount that. 4 times. 83% of consumers are willing to refer after a positive experience, and yet only 29% actually do. And there's a reason for that. Okay. They're not asked. So you do have to get comfortable with asking. And we're going to spend some time on that. I'm going to show you how to get comfortable asking for referrals. And also 87% of top producers in any industry surveyed, they agree referrals are the best source, right? Is there anybody here that would argue that referrals are a great source of prospect? Okay, nobody's going to argue that one, right? And yet, advisors with formalized referral programs experience 86% more revenue growth over a 2-year period, and only 28% of advisors have a proven process that they stick to. Okay, now a process or a system or a program is something that you do every single time. I'll be in a room like this and I'll ask, how many of you have a system or a process for getting referrals? And a bunch of hands go up. And then I ask them, tell me a little bit about it. And they can't tell me about it because they don't do it on a regular basis. Here's the newsflash. That's not a system. That's not a process. Process and a system every single time, right? There's a trigger that kicks that into play and you do it, you activate it, and it's the same way every time, although you may be continually improving it along the way. All right. So who here knows what system stands for? Anybody know what the word system stands for? It's an acronym. Okay, write this down. It stands for save yourself time, energy, and money. Save yourself time, energy, and money. So as business owners, we need to get very, very good at looking for the waste of time, energy, and money. And wherever we're wasting time, energy, and money, we can usually build a system. And a system may be a 2 or a 3-point checklist. It doesn't have to be anything crazy sophisticated, but find ways to save yourself time, energy, and money. Having a process of how to ask for referrals and get referrals and where to look for them in a certain way is a system. And you're going to learn a proven system. All right. Let's see. I just want to look in the chat and make sure I'm not missing anybody's questions. Gene, to answer your question, yes, there will be a recording, assuming technology is shining on us and goes according to plan. I will render the recording and get it out to everybody in attendance. So rest assured there. All right. So just give me a yes or a no in the chat. Do you ask for referrals on a regular basis? Let me know who the yeses are and who the nos are. Okay. No, no, yes, no, yes, 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 no. Intermittently. Okay. God, good. No, we just started. Okay. So we know, my little clicker, every time I do that, there we go. Okay. So why don't we ask for referrals? What's one of the reasons you don't ask? Somebody type it in the chat. There's a reason that you don't ask or okay, shy. Right. Fear. Yep. Okay. So I know these and what they look like, they come in this form, right? There's fear of losing the sale, right? If somebody buys from us, they sign an application or do whatever it is, it's like, okay, got one. And if I ask for referrals, and I know this isn't rational, but it's what our brain does sometimes is we make up the story that they're going to pull back the paperwork and say, how dare you, I'm not going to do business with you because of that. Now we know that not to be true rationally, but the little gremlin voice sometimes that gets a hold of the wheel can try to convince us of that. And so it's just safer, right? We play it safe to not ask for referrals, right? Another reason is we might not feel that we deserve the referral. Who am I to ask for referrals? If I was good, they would have just given it to me. They would have suggested somebody, right? Again, so we can start to rationalize and make up a story. Another is, well, it's not professional to ask for referrals. After all, an attorney, an accountant, a doctor, all these professionals, they never ask for referrals. So I'm not going to ask for referrals either. Okay. How much is that costing you? A lot, I can tell you. 6-7 figures, as a matter of fact. Now, the other area where people have fear around it is they're not sure when to ask. Right? Do I ask like right after I meet somebody and we have a little bit of a conversation? Do I wait till I actually have sold them something and they become a client? Is it in between? When is it? We don't know, right? And it's that not knowing that can keep us stuck or keep us quiet from asking for referrals. All right. The other most popular is I don't have comfortable language. How many of you here have attended or taken a course on how to get referrals and you heard the language and yet it's not really your style, right? Seems a little aggressive or a little forceful. I get it. I get it. Okay. Now there's some good programs out there that will work with you to figure that out so that it's in your voice and it's easy and natural. And there's others that are just like, it's our way or the highway. We know this works, do it this way. We're all adults here. You got to figure out what works for you and what you need to adjust and calibrate. I'm going to share with you some specific language. You may or may not like it. Put it in there for whatever it's worth column, tweak it, make it your own, but have something, have some kind of regular language that you can weave into the conversations that you feel comfortable with and also helps your clients feel comfortable. You're going to learn how to do that. And then last is they don't have a proven system or effective system to actually follow up, right? How many of you here have actually, you stepped up courageously, you've asked for referrals, you got a bunch of them, and then you didn't follow up with them in time? How's that feel? And then you bump into your client and they ask you, hey, did you ever reach out to so-and-so? Or how did it go with so-and-so? And you're going, gosh, I've just been so busy, I never got around to it, right? So you're going to need language on the other side of this as well. What are you going to say to the person that you referred to? Okay, so we'll talk about all this. This is where we're going to go today. All right, now I'm going to give you an 8-step process. I call it the referral integration. See what I did with the 8 there? Okay, that's me trying to be clever. I don't know if I succeeded or not, but here's the thing. There's 8 steps that we're going to walk through. And take notes. You'll have the recording. You can replay it and listen to it again. But this is all you need to do to have a system to generate referrals. All right. Thanks, Barry. I appreciate the very clever. Okay. So first thing is set the stage with an agenda. All right. Now, when you meet somebody for the first time, they don't know you from a bottle of Vicks. Right? They might have a little sense of it. If they're referred to you, it's even better. But most of the time when you meet with somebody, they kind of don't know exactly what to expect. Their guard may be up a little bit, right? Don't sell me anything I don't want to buy. I know you make a living with, on commission, or fees. So I'm going to protect myself. We need to bring their guard down. Okay, here's a cool little psychological hack. When you sit down with somebody, say these words. Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, before we get started, before we get started. 4 words. What do those 4 words do? They bring down their guard. Oh, okay, we haven't started yet. Okay, I know it sounds simple and it works. Another thing that you should be doing, again, if you're back live with somebody, if you're via Zoom, it's a little hard to do, but if you're live with somebody and you're at their home or they're at your office, is offer them water, or if you're at their place of business or their home, ask for a glass of water if they haven't offered it to you. Why? Again, psychologically, who do we break bread with? Who do we share meals with? With our friends, people that are safe, right? So these 2 things give you a psychological advantage of getting into their inner circle where you'll be better received, right? So before we get started, and hey, could I grab a glass of water, or would you like some water, or can I get you anything else to drink? Maybe you have other offerings, but that's the most important thing. The next most important thing is what you see here on the screen. It's an agenda. It's a roadmap. It lets the person know what to expect, where you're going to take them so that they can take care of themselves, right? So you let them know, hey, first thing we're going to do today is we're just simply going to talk about your goals and the journey that you're on and where you want to make sure you get to. And if there's any way that I can help support that or guide you or give you some indication around how to get to it faster or easier, I'll share that with you. Fair enough? Okay. Easy language to use. Then let them know how you guide your clients, how clients work with you, what that process looks like. And it's not to be, complicated. It's here's our 4-step process. Here's our 8-step process, and do it in a way where you walk them through a journey. Okay. Now keep in mind, you're not there to be the hero of their journey. They're the hero of their journey. You're there to be the guide to their hero on their journey. I hope that makes sense. All right. Now, let them also know that you're there to earn their permission to move into some next steps to see how you might be able to help them specifically. Okay. So, in other words, you're letting them know you're not going to move too fast or get them to do anything out of their comfort zone. And then the 4th item here says referrals. And that's where I simply say, my job in working with my clients is to be so good with them and so valuable that I am referrable, that you're going to want to share me and my services with the people that you care about. And I have to earn that, right? So all I'm doing there is I'm just planting a little seed. It'll germinate. We'll be able to harvest it when it's time, but we got to plant the seed. Make sense? Yes or yes? Okay. And the 5th item is open. Okay. Because they gave you a time to meet with them. They're investing, they're trading an hour, half hour, whatever it is, of their life. So there's something on their mind. They're curious about something. They came here to get something. Let's find out what that is. Let's find out what's on their mind and in their heart so that we can help them get what they want. So that's where I say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, we left this last item on the agenda open because I'm sure there's some things on your mind, maybe in your heart, that you'd like to get the answers to. So tell me what's going on for you. Where would you like to start today's meeting? Now, 9 times out of 10, they'll say, let's just start at the top. Tell me more about the goals and the journey. And by the way, I make 2 copies of this sheet, or I have it up on the computer screen when I'm with a client, so that if they've got a copy, they're looking at it and they're not strained looking at my copy, and we both are singing off the same song page. Now, when I ask them also, hey, what's on your mind? What's in your heart? Where would you like to take today's meeting? If they don't say, well, let's just start at the top, like you said, there may be something, hey, we just refinanced our mortgage and I think we made a mistake. Could you help us look through that? Sure. And write that down and ask them, great, we'll cover that. Is there anything else? Write the next thing down. Got it. Understood. Is there anything else? And after about 2 or 3, you're probably going to exhaust their list. But what that does is that lets them know that you've heard them, that you've seen them, that you witness, and that you understand where they are and what they want. Okay. After food, oxygen, water, and touch, our biggest psychological need is to feel understood or witnessed. And you just gave them an incredible gift by having that conversation and writing down what's important to them. Make sense? Any questions around how to use the agenda to set the stage? Everybody good to go? All right. Next thing we want to do is we want to earn the referrals. So how do we do that? Just be a good person, okay? Do your best. And that's enough, right? You don't have to be a second-rate version of somebody else that you think is better than you are. Be you, be authentic, author your style, all right? Connect, get as much of the stuff out of the way that's between you and your prospect, and connect. That's what makes us referable. That's what makes people want to refer. There's a great saying, I should probably have built it into a slide here. Maya Angelou used to say, people don't remember what you said or what you did. They remember how you made them feel. Okay. So being referable is about feeling. If you get people to feel good, feel more certainty, feel more in control of their situation, you are referable. They want to share that. Okay. That's what we mean by earning referrals and being referable. So just do a good job, do your best, be a good person, and be open and connect. Next, once you've met with somebody and you've done some work, at the end of every meeting, you want to ask the question, what's the takeaway for you? What was of benefit? What was of value? What did you learn? What was helpful? Let them tell you what that is. Then, once you've got that, you are at a position where you can now ask for some names. But before you ask for some names, you need to do a little homework. Okay. Now, I see a lot of financial advisors on the grid here. This works in any industry. And that is, you probably have a fact find of some kind, right? Remember going back to the agenda where it said permission to ask questions? Well, before you just dive into a fact find with somebody, ask permission. Hey, the purpose of my being here, Mr. and Mrs. Client, is to ask you some questions so that I can then put together some things that might be helpful for you. Is it okay if I ask you some questions? Oh, sure, absolutely, great. Then ask the questions, and you know the questions to ask given your industry. But I also want you to ask questions with regards to who they know, who they can refer you to, okay? And the reason for that is because there's gold. There's absolute gold in the fact finder. I'll give you an example, right? Look at this. When you're sitting down with somebody, you can weave questions in to find these 16 people in their life. Who are their siblings? Do they live locally? This day and age really doesn't matter anymore. Back in the day, it did. Who are their parents? Are they still alive? Do they have adult children? Those could still be good prospects for you. Who do they report to at work? Who's their boss? Who's their team? Who reports to them? Or if they're a business owner, who's their partner? Do they have an accountant, right? Financial advisors, you got to know who their accountant is. It's on the bottom of the tax return or the top of the tax return, right? Who's their attorney? Who's their banker? All of these people are part of their team of trusted advisors. You need to think of yourself as the quarterback of all those trusted advisors. Find out who they are. They make great centers of influence and even great clients. Okay. I'll show you how to work with them on another Friday gym. I've got a whole program around that. Doctors, right? If you're writing some life insurance as an advisor, you've got to get medical records. You got to find out who their doctors are. Okay. Doctors are great clients. No reason that they shouldn't know who you are. Think about who their neighbors are, who lives on the left, who lives on the right, who lives across the street. We typically know our neighbors. Find out who they are. And you don't have to find out by asking them. You can do a cross directory and find out who they are. Who's their friends? Who are their confidants? Who do they, oh, I got to think about it. I'm going to ask my friend. He's a whatever, and he apparently is an expert in what you do. Well, okay, who is that person? That might be a good referral. Think about their kids' teachers or their coaches, right? We usually have a pretty good relationship with those people at that stage of our lives. They make great clients. Mortgage broker, maybe they recently refinanced or bought a home. Real estate agent. Community involvement. Are they a member of Rotary? Are they in the chamber, right? How do they serve their community? Who do they touch? Who touches them? Great people to know. LinkedIn connections, right? Now it's so flippin' easy, right? We can just go online, if they're online on LinkedIn, look at who they know and cherry pick the people we want to be introduced to, okay? Company directories are a wonderful source, right? When I lived in the Bay Area and I was a financial advisor, two big companies in my area, okay? Pacific Bell was what they were called back in the day, and Chevron were huge employers in the area that I lived. And so I used to do retirement planning seminars where people actually showed up, and like 70% of the people that showed up came from, that's where they were employed. So after a while, I got smart and I asked one of them, hey, I need a company directory. Okay. I got to know their benefits better than they did. So I immersed myself in that culture, right? Makes me more referable. And pretty soon I became kind of the go-to person for those two companies. Okay. So these are just 16 ways, right? And if you stumble and bumble and only ask a couple of them, you're going to get a few names for sure. Now, here's how you need to start to look at this is you want to start to qualify these people, okay? Qualify for connection. Now, what you see here is what I asked you earlier, okay? After you've had some time to connect with them and you know you've provided some value, maybe it's just helping them get organized, right? As an advisor, I used to have this model, a three-part model of savings, protection, and growth to show them how to organize all of their affairs. Really simple and easy, all in one spot. That was like a huge light bulb for people because most of them are operating with a junk drawer, right, of stuff. So I just showed them how to organize the junk drawer. That was huge value. I didn't sell them anything yet, right? But I gave them tremendous value. So at the end of the meeting, if they got nothing else, they got a sense of being more and better organized. So I earned the right to be referable just through that little process. So what's the takeaway for you today? What was helpful? And who do you care enough about that could benefit from having a conversation like this? Not who do you know, but who do you care enough about? Because when you say who do you know, what they do is they look up on the ceiling, and if there's no post-it note up there with a name on it, they say, I don't know. Okay, it's not their fault. It's your fault. You didn't help guide them. Who do you care enough about in Rotary that could benefit from this call? Who do you care enough about at your school? Who do you care enough about at work, on your team, right? Now, when we say who do you care enough about, it brings in a different conversation. That's the power, okay? So that's how you qualify for connecting. Now, once you do this, ask them to be a character reference for you. Okay. And so it's just a throwaway question, but again, the psychology of it is powerful. Hey, by the way, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, if I were to reach out to anyone you might know, can I use your name as a character reference? I've never gotten a no. I've never, ever gotten a no by asking it that way. Again, this is a seed that we're planting. We're not saying, here's all the people I'm going to call that you know, and I'm going to use your name. We're not saying that. Although in effect, that's kind of what we're doing. But we're doing it in a soft way. We're packaging it, we're marketing it in a way that works, right? So think about it. Most people won't eat cold dead fish, but they'll spend a lot of money on sushi. Okay, same thing, just packaged a different way. Same with cold dead pig versus roasted pork, right? We have to tee it up in a way that it's palatable, that it looks and feels and sounds good to them. And this is the way that you do it, right? So if you haven't written that down, write that down or take a screenshot of it, right? Now, moving on from there, we want to ask for permission to be introduced, okay? And the way that we do that is just, I'm going to be expanding my clients, or I've got a list of people that we're reaching out to, growing our practice. I'm going to be reaching out. May I use your name as a character reference with regards to the type of work that we do when I speak with them? Again, nobody ever says no to that. So request permission to be introduced to people. And one of the ways that you want to do is make it easy for them. Okay, make it easy for people to refer you. So here's some language. Okay, this, you can actually ask them to take this blurb or a blurb like it that you're comfortable with and drop it into an email or a text, copying you with an introduction. Okay. Now I will tell you, there's a great book, if you don't have it, it's called Influence by Robert Cialdini. Okay. And he talks about the psychology of getting the small yeses to get to the big yeses, right? It's the reason why, during election season, somebody says, hey, you want to wear this pin? You go, sure. You want to put this bumper sticker on your car? Sure. Now, before all the divisiveness, it wasn't quite as scary. Now, you don't know if you want to put that sticker on your car because it might get your car bashed in. But back in the day, the way that it worked is you would move up the ladder with bigger and bigger and bigger things to eventually where, you had a big billboard in your front yard and you were working at the call center. But it all started with a little tiny pin. And so we're kind of doing the same thing here. Little tiny pin in the form of an agenda, in the form of asking what's the big takeaway for you from today's meeting. By, hey, if I were to reach out to some people that you might know, could I use your name as a character reference, right? The yeses get a little bit bigger, to eventually where we say, hey, would you be willing, that's critical language, would you be willing to send so-and-so an email to introduce myself and my services? And here's the language right here. Take a snapshot of it, borrow it. We've got a bunch more. If you want to learn more about it, I'm happy to share it with you. All right. That's the magic of this stuff. Okay. It's part of the system. Have a system. The next piece is follow up. Okay. Don't FU the FU. Okay. Don't foul up the follow up. So what that means is you've got to have a way to say thank you to the person that referred people that they entrust with you. Okay. Now, also, when you are introduced to somebody, make it easy for them to connect with you where it's non-threatening and there's no risk. So what we suggest is that you provide in the thank you, right? When you get the email that's you're copied in with the referral. So I say, hey, thanks, referrer, for introducing me to Refer E. And I'd love to chance to connect and get acquainted. How about a 15-minute call, right? Now, I don't know about you. I'm not that good. I can't sell somebody something they don't want in 15 minutes. Most people know that, so they feel safe with 15 minutes. It's just a chance to get to know one another. Fair enough. If it makes sense to go on further than 15 minutes, we can judge it then, or we can schedule another time. There's some language that I can share with you that will hook people into wanting to schedule more time with you. But keep it safe. Go for 15 minutes. All right. Depending upon how far out the meeting is, send an appointment reminder. Okay. Now, again, we do this to be more referable. We're letting them know we're professional, that we have a process. They get a sense of expectation. They know we keep our word, that we do what we say. All of that stuff is being professional. Now, I know everybody on the grid here does all this already. I know you do. Okay. But I'm talking to the other people. that aren't good at following up and staying on top of stuff. Okay, so send the reminder. If you've got enough time, or even maybe with the reminder, and I'm going to couch this, don't give people too much in any one email, right? Don't get that. If there's a call to action of some kind, don't give them 2 calls to action. Don't make them think, don't make them work, all right? Because they're caught in a scroll hole. They have the attention of a goldfish, which is about 2.5 seconds. If you ask them to work, they're going to delete it, thinking they're going to come back to it later, and they never do. So with that being in mind, after you've sent the appointment reminder in a separate email, preferably a day later or however along in between that makes sense, right? Split it up. Send them something of value. Send them something that educates them during the interim. Okay. Now here's what you've got to recognize. Most people that get referred to somebody or see you at an event or meet you at the chamber, most people are not buy now people, right? They don't have a need for what it is, or they don't think they have a need for what it is that you offer. So they're not a buy now person. Only 1% of the people you bump into are ready to buy now. Okay. So you've got to treat your correspondence and your campaigns as if they're the other 99%. They're future buyers, not now buyers. And here's a little inside secret. Future buyers, they're gathering information. They're educating themselves on how to do it themselves or how to find an alternate option from what you do. They're trying to convince themselves they don't need you. So you need to help them understand that they do need you. What that means is give them information of value, educate them on here's what you need to do. Boom, 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 stack it. Make it so much that they recognize this is just too much. I need help, right? Have you ever been in that situation where you started on this journey thinking, I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to watch a couple YouTubes, read a couple books, talk to a couple friends. I got this. And the more you know you don't know, and the more you don't even know you don't know, you're overwhelmed. And what do? You look for an expert. You look for a guide. And guess what? The person that's been supplying them with the information to help make their life a little easier and educate them is now viewed as the ultimate guide, the trusted advisor. So you've positioned yourself where you've broken down a ton of the barriers. Okay. And if you can give other things along the way, that's great. But that's how, once you do meet with them, they're going to feel endeared to you. Right? And there's a law of reciprocity. Again, this is in that book, Influence. There's a law of reciprocity where if I give you stuff, you feel obligated to give me something, even if it's in the form of 15 minutes of time, right? So use these things to your advantage. Put them into your system. Okay. Now, the thing that we have to recognize for our ideal client, our ideal prospects, is that they're not going to make a move. They're not going to buy anything if they are not feeling any pain, right? If they're okay, things are good, they don't need us, right? You don't just go to your doctor for no good reason. You go to the doctor because there's a pain or something's wrong, or it's time for your annual physical, right? We've been programmed in a good way to check our physical fitness every year at least, right? So there's a trigger there. People need triggers of some kind. Most of those triggers are in the form of pain, in the form of struggle, in the form of suffering. So what we want to do is we've got to find out of those future buyers, how many of them have enough pain, suffering, disruption, that they're close enough to becoming a now buyer that if we shine a little bit of light on it, put a little heat on it, they recognize that they're now a now buyer. They've got to take care of this pain. Okay, so you've got to know how to do that. So you've got to know, what do they struggle with typically? What are they worried about, or what keeps them up at night? And what are their concerns? Okay, if you know that of your ideal prospects and clients, you can then weave that into your communication, into your education. into your engagements and let them know that's how you help people. We help end the suffering. We help stop the struggle. We let you sleep better at night. But you've got to know specifically what that is for them so that you can meet them with their language. And I will tell you, your ideal prospects and ideal clients are going to be typically the same types of pains and concerns, right? And it all boils down to certainty. Okay, here's the news flash. We all want more certainty in our lives. The quality of our life is in direct proportion to our ability to handle the uncertainties. We want control, and we want control in the form of independence. We want control in the form of being accepted or acceptance, and we want it in the form of certainty. So help them with that. Help them get a sense of that even before they meet with you. And they're going to want more of it. They're going to want more of you. That's how this works. So have a system of follow-up when you go meet the referrer and the referee. You've got to have, there's going to be a fork in the road with your systems where you continue on reporting back to the person that gave you names or gave you permission to use their name as a character reference and let them know how things are going. And also a follow-up system with the person that you're actually referred to eventually onboard them into becoming a client with you. Okay, so it's an easy system to build. It does take a little time to think it through. I'm happy to help you with that. All right, now here's some other best practices that I would invite you to play with. Ask them who you could invite to your next webinar or seminar. Okay, now this, in my opinion, and maybe this is just my limited thinking, I think this works brilliantly in a live setting, works okay in a virtual setting. But one of the things that I used to do when I was doing my retirement planning workshops is I made a game out of it. And it was a 4-week program. Every Thursday night, they'd come to the local university that was in my town, and that's where we did these. On the end of the 4th night, we had a sheet that we tailored, and we'd let people know that we've got another webinar coming up, in a month or 2 months or 3 months. And because they were feeling good, and this was after we asked them what was the biggest takeaway from our 4-week program. And they were telling, oh my gosh, I know this, I know that. And we get everybody say, yeah, who else feels that? And we got kind of everybody all lathered up, which was a good thing. And so what we then did is, while they're lathered up, is we say, hey, we've got another one of these coming up. Who do you know that we should put on our invitation list? Really easy. And we made it a competition, and we had these, they were little silver coins. They were old and they looked like they were really, really valuable, but we bought them for like, $20, right? But it was kind of cool. And we were talking about investments, so it kind of all tied in. And we say, we are going to give this coin to whoever submits the most people to invite to our next webinar. Okay. Now we'd have, 30 people in the webinar, 40 people in the webinar. And now all of them are giving us names with like 10, 20, 30 names. Okay. Boom. Incredible list, right, of people that we could now start to develop a relationship with and invite them to our webinar and then stay in touch with them, right? It's magic. So ask who you should invite to your next webinar or seminar. And hopefully everybody that I see on the grid here is doing something, right? Like what I'm doing here, just every other Friday. I spend some time just sharing with people what I'm good at and how I can help them. And I let them decide if it's valuable enough and if they want more, right? It's a process. It's a process, okay? There's a cool app out there. It's called sharesomefriends.com. You can have it on your phone. So when you're out and about and you meet somebody, the way that it works, I'm not going to take a lot of time into it. They do a good job of explaining it. I don't have an affiliate or anything like that. So there's no, I don't have a dog in that hunt. It's just a cool tool that helps people think of people that they otherwise would not have thought of to be able to refer them to you. So it's a neat tool. The other thing that you can do is in your signature, in your emails, okay, use something like "We love referrals," or, "Who needs to know about us?" Whatever catchy phrase you might like. And then you can hyperlink that to a web form that you can create, and you can do it as simple as a Google form, doesn't cost anything to do. And they can go in and they can type names and give you the contact information of people that they want to refer to you. Okay. Or they can pick up the phone and call you, but let people know that you're always in expansion mode. You're always looking to help and serve more people, right? But remind them. So every email that goes out should have something like that that reminds people of what you do. That's valuable real estate, right? Their eyeballs, you've got their eyeballs, right? Leverage the messaging. Okay. Another thing that we do and that I get my clients to do is use a quarterly expansion letter, right? Just letting people know each quarter, hey, we're really excited. We're looking to expand this quarter. We're looking to take on new clients, or we've opened the window to take on new clients. And we'd love for you to be a part of that. Okay. And then let them know who they can refer you to, right? Include a white paper or a podcast or a video, right? Those are even good things to include in between the calendar reminder and the meeting that you have. If you've got a podcast that you've recorded or been a guest on and you like the content of it, great, right? It sets you apart from everybody else. It gives you what my good friend William Wright calls junior celebrity status. Right? If people see you on a video and they hear you on a podcast and they see a white paper or an article that you're the author of, all of a sudden you've just been elevated among everybody else in their mind. And when they eventually get a chance to see you on the screen, hear your voice, see you in person, it's like, oh my gosh, you're who you are, right? And we've all been a little starstruck. I used to be a boxer in college. And back in the day when I was traveling in the corporate world, I went to a lot of airports, and every once in a while I would see a professional boxer, right? I've seen Floyd Mayweather, I've seen Mike Tyson, I've seen Sugar Ray Leonard, and for me, I'm a little starstruck, like, whoa, they're there in real life. Well, you can create that same awe by this simple process. Again, psychologically, right? Use everything to your advantage to set yourself up as the trusted advisor, as the person of choice. All right, I want to open it up for some questions. I know I've gone really, really, really fast on a lot of this. So if there's something you need a little more clarification, go ahead and shoot it in the chat, and I will do my best to answer any questions that you might have. All right, anything that anybody wants to know? Yes, no, maybe, sort of, kind of, in a way, but not really. Any threats, accusations? I'll take anything. Okay. All right. So I do want to share this with you, just in the event that you're interested. Okay. This is not a sales pitch, but it will lead to a sales pitch at some point, maybe. Okay. Here's what I mean. I have a program. It's called the 10-Point Challenge. And it's where I will send you an email about every 3 days with some cool ideas and processes of what you can do to generate more referrals and be more referable. It takes about 10 minutes a day. If you get in the habit of doing these practices over the course of 30 days, once you get these 10 emails, you will have what you need to get 3 new clients over the course of those 3 weeks. So I want you to think about this. I want you to think about your best client. Your best client, the person you really enjoy working with, the person that is good economic potential, person that refers you. Yeah, that person. Think of that person. Now imagine over the course of 3 or 4 weeks, having 3 more of those, okay? Or at least access and a favorable introduction to 3 or more of those. How will your production change? How will your life change? Okay. So here's the good news. I'm not going to charge you $24.79. I used to, right? For this program, I used to charge $24.79. It's yours free. Okay, don't starve at the barbecue. It's just an email. So if you want it, take a picture of the QR code or go to probrilliance.com 10 day, and you'll get into the system and you'll start to get these emails. They're valuable, they're helpful. There's not a sales pitch with any of it. There is also a 30-minute session with me, right, where you can get your questions answered and get a breakthrough. All right. That 30 minutes is not going to be a sales pitch. It's all about you. It's helping you get what you need. Now, I will be transparent with you. Hopefully, I will create enough value that you might ask me the question, hey, Mach, what does it take to work with you? I'm happy to have that conversation, but I'm not going to force it on you. It's up to you. We're both adults. I'm here to help you. And this is my way of being more referable. So with that being said, any other last questions? I see Tosh has asked, will we get the slides? My question is, do you want the slides? The answer is yes, you'll get the slides. Like I said earlier, I'll render the recording, get it cleaned up a little bit, and then get it off to everybody that's in attendance. So you do have that promise from me. Anything else before we call it a wrap? All right, guys. Well, I want to just congratulate you for investing the time to learn, to do, to break through. You've got everything you need to get more referrals. You just have to put it into an semblance of order, put it somewhere where you will look at it every single day and do it, and you will have more ideal referrals coming into your practice sooner rather than later. So I'll stay on for a few more minutes if any of you want to come off mute and ask me any specific questions or put anything in the chat. But for right now, if you've got to get going, thanks for being here. I appreciate you being here, and good luck. Have a great weekend. Bye for now. If anybody has a question that's still on, just raise your hand. I can take you off mute and we can chat. All right, looks like everybody got everything they, oh, let's see. Nirk, I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, but it looks like you. Oh, so that's Barry. Okay, Barry, do you have a question?
Yeah, sorry, I just want to ask you. I missed your previous session on the ideal client.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility of obtaining those slides and recording?
Yeah, for sure. Let me just make a note. I've got your email that you registered for this one. Is that the best email to send to you?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay. Let me just write it down right now so I do
And
not
luckily
forget.
for me, I was out of town, spent some family time, good one. So I missed that session, and yeah, I would really appreciate if you can just catch up on that.
You bet. I will make sure you get that link. And if you have any questions after you've viewed it and watched and listened and tried things out, just reach out. And I'd invite you to jump into the 10-point challenge, because that's a great place to get more of those questions answered.
Certainly will do. But thank you, Motion.
All right. Thank you, Barry. Appreciate it.
And enjoy it.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions? All right. I don't see anything in the chat. I see some thank yous, which is nice. All right, and I don't see anybody raising their hand or taking themselves off mute, so we are going to call it a wrap. Have a great, oh, one more message just came through. What is that? That is, oh, thanks for sharing. Yeah, Antonio, I will definitely get that out to everybody. Probably be towards either the end of the day or over the weekend. I've got a couple more appointments, and then I'll have the time to render it. So have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for being on the show. Bye for now.